Digital transformation is a hot topic today. Many professionals are deciding how to change their companies. Boards of directors are addressing how to deal with digital disruption. Courses, seminars. In fact, it's more difficult not to hear about it than the contrary. But what is it? What is digital transformation? And what can we do about it? There are many definitions about it, but let me share with you in the next minutes what we have been discussing as a collective knowledge in my classes. So I am Casimiro Juanes, and I am adjunct professor at IE Business School for executive MBA programs, in which I teach digital innovation and digital transformation. So I always start about the need. Why do we need to change? And a good start is the reading from Professor Klaus Schwab, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, which was the starting of 2016 World Economic Forum meeting, in which he states, "We stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, the way we work, and the way we relate to each other. The way we live, the way we work, and the way we relate to each other." That doesn't sound so much about technology itself, but about social, individual, about companies' changes. Digital transformation is enabled by technology, and that's a key word. It's enabled because it's not a technology change. It's a social and it's a business change. Change that is enabled by the different technologies that are happening around. That helps to erode barriers of entry, gets into new markets, and create new business models. So this is what the building blocks of the digital transformation.
If you want to know more about digital transformation building blocks, check this video.
But we still haven't gone through what do we do with that as a company. It's good to understand this concept, but now what do we have to do? Why do companies need to change? And the why is because of three factors. These three factors are strategic, financial, and operational. Let's go one by one. Strategic, it's because customers are changing, and we need to understand their change. Their change is driven because of technologies eroding barriers of entry, so new competitors are approaching each of the markets with a differentiated way to offer services. So customer behavior is changing, and we need to understand that in order to decide what to do and how to evolve our companies. Financial, it's also because in this digitalization, the cost of transaction, of doing things, is lower, which means that the traditional sources of revenue for companies is changing because of the customer and also because of the new cost models. So companies have to evolve, and for some of them, this is a survival game to maintain. So with regards to financials, there are two things that companies usually need to do. First of all is to capture opportunities, and second, generate efficiencies. Capture opportunities means creating new products or new services or selling better thanks to mobility. So all in all, increase our top line, increase our revenues. Whereas in generate efficiencies, we have two big factors. One thing is to cost less, because in a digital world, the transaction cost is lower, so you can be more efficient, just digitalizing your processes, and with that way, your cost is lower, your margins is higher, so the bottom line also increases. But there's another thing in generating efficiencies, which is moving in this agile mindset. You can do things faster and using less waste, because you understand better the customer and you are capable to deliver what the customer needs in a faster way. So you use less resources, and that has a direct impact in the working capital. So you can increase the top line, increase the bottom line and the margin, and also decrease the working capital, which is what is fundamentally moving all the companies in terms of financials. And last but not least, operational. We already mentioned two big things. Number one is that the transaction costs is significantly lower. It's a fraction in the digital world. But number two is that the operations themselves are using less resources and faster in a digital world. So operationally, you cannot compete unless you digitalize your operations and your ways of working. So these are the three whys of a company. It needs to change because of strategical, financial, and operational reasons. So what do they need to do? What do they need to do to face this digital transformation? They have to decide first their strategy. And their strategy can be of three different aspects, or three different ways. One way is to disrupt the market. This is what companies like Uber, Airbnb, or even Apple with the new business models are doing, creating new markets in which they decide or they offer new ways to have access to a service or to a product. So this is the disruption model. Usually we are talking about digitally native companies in which they can easily replicate their models and in which they also are very, very low utilization of assets. So financially they are very agile, but also operationally they are extremely agile. The second option is differentiate. Differentiate is for companies like General Electric, for example, or IBM, or Philips, which they are today still giants in the traditional world, and they need to, using their resources, they have decided to go forward in the digital world. So they are creating their own platforms, for example, such as GE with Predix, or they are creating a new environment, for a new ecosystem for innovation, such as Philips Healthcare, in which they want to differentiate from the others, but still within their own sphere of competition. So they are not really disrupting a new market, they are just differentiating in their existing market. And the third alternative is defend, in which you basically want to move your existing business model into a digital business model. And that's what Microsoft is doing with their existing licensing model, moving into cloud and as a service model. So these are the three alternatives that your company can take with regards to their own strategy. But the most important part of your digital strategy needs to be this one, which is simplify. Digital transformation is about simplification of your operations, of your strategy, of your execution. And that's the fundamental part of it. So now we get into the how. How do we need to change? And here is where the fun part begins. Because there's no roadmap. There's no blueprint to follow with regards to digital transformation. And each company will have to do it in their own way, especially because the digital transformation is about changing many things, starting with the culture, but then being faster, more agile, using less waste, simplify your environment, collaborate, team, talent, products, organization, decision making. There are so many things you have to change in the how that either you start changing from the top small things, then it will be difficult, and there's no perfect guideline for you to follow. So sometimes what I do with my students is we go on with the description or the definition. So here is the digital transformation definition that we use, that it's helping us to build our own models to transform. So first, it's a business transformation to become more agile. It's centered in the customer, enabled by technology, creating and capturing new opportunities, creating new value and selling more, while being more efficient in cost, time, and agility. Mostly based in data. That's the key thing. Data is the new oil. And with an enhanced approach to risk management. As we saw, there are some security concerns in the new world that we have to address as well. So let's go one by one on these specific words that are key in the definition. Business, transformation, agile, customer, technology enabled, opportunities, efficiencies, data, risk management. So first of all, it's a business change. So as I said before, you need to take a stance on what's your strategy. Are you going to disrupt with a new business model? Are you going to differentiate with the existing competitors thanks to digitalization? Or are you going to defend, transforming your existing business model into a digital one? That's what you have to decide. And perhaps you have to decide different things for different parts of the organization. And then you start with the transformation itself. And this is one of many transformations, but it's also different because it affects the whole company, as we will see later. So it has to be totally driven from the top. But in the new model for change, the new change management, it's also not based on authority, but it's also an influence. So it not only has to be top-down, but also bottom-up, because it's the users and our employees, the ones that know better how to change, what to change, how to become more digital. So it's also about a culture change. It's about a culture change in which decisions will be made in a different way, the organization will look different, and the leadership will be different. It's a transformation to become more agile. And here I don't mean the pure agile of software development. I refer more to the agile mindset. A mindset in which you have to be in continuous contact with the customer to understand and to validate if what you are building is needed by the customer. And that way you will minimize waste and you will have your products and services faster in the market. So it's about minimum viable product, customer validation, and continuous iteration in your delivery towards the customer, but also your internal ways of working. And it's centered in the customer. It's totally centered in the customer. It's customer-centric. The customer is the start, the customer is the end. And it's data-driven because it's not based on opinions. You have to know what the customer wants and validate that that's what the customer wants through data. Of course, you will need to use minds as well. But data, it's becoming more and more important because it helps you to be faster and more accurate. It's enabled by technology, and this is very important. Technology plays a key role here, but it's the use of the technology. It's not a technology change itself, it's a change of the company through the use of technology. And that's the most important part. Because if you don't do that, if you continue thinking that it's a technology change, you will just change the technology, but you will not change the company. It's about creating new opportunities and being more efficient. As I said before, with the financials, the ultimate goal of a company is to sell more, sell better, and have higher profits. So it's about top line, revenues, bottom line, margin and cost, and it's about the working capital, the capital employed. All these digital companies, digital native companies, are well financed, and their digitally business models are well financed because they are very efficient in the return of capital employed. And that's one of the things that financials love to see. It's mostly based on data. So all the companies have to become data-driven companies if they want to succeed, if they don't want to become a commodity. You have to break the silos, you have to change your culture to be more agile, to change your organization so that it helps all the company to be data-driven, the new decision-making process in which those that hold the data will be the ones closer to the decision, not necessarily the management. So all those changes are part of the data-driven company change. And it's basically an organization and culture change. And last but not least, the new digital world comes with new risks and threats, and with a higher exposure because of having everything connected and all the data there, and your ways of working in an internet-based world. So you have to change the approach of risk management as well. It has to be embedded in everything you do, but it has to be embedded in a risk-based approach. Because if you want to be fast to the market and to the customer, you have to be agile, but at the same time secured. So it's about understanding the context, the culture of the company, and build within your agile mindset this secured agility and risk-based approach. So all these changes, as you have seen, are affecting the whole company. So first is about understanding the customer and getting a better connection with them. But thanks to that and thanks to the data that you get, it's about building new products and services. And all these products and services and the speed you have to generate in order to build them will have to change. It will force a change in your ways of working and your tools as well, which ultimately mean that you have also to transform your own employee and the workspace that they are using for their work. So it's about employees, ways of working, tools, products and services, and customers, all of this. So changing the whole company. And it's unfortunately the same for all the incumbents. It's the same need of change. But it's not necessarily the same recipe, because the companies will have to change and transform depending on what they do and also their existing capabilities. But usually, because this change is so big, as Don Schulman says, the biggest impediment to company's future success is its past success. So you have to change and evolve from what you have done and transform into a new company that follows this key words, that it's a business transformation, that it's agile, that it's centered in the customer, that it's technology enabled, that focuses on opportunities and efficiencies, that it's based on data, and that includes the risk management. Sounds a little bit daunting and difficult and even unsurmountable, doesn't it? Well, it does. It's a difficult thing. It's a company change, but you can start doing things while you set up your own strategy. There are 4 things that are common in the success stories. Number 1, that they have approached this as a culture change, so sense of urgency. Number 2, that they have changed the mindset. They have to be faster, more customer-driven, closer, iteration, continuous iteration. So the agile mindset and ways of working, it's an area in which you can start investing today. Third one is about data-driven company. So data-driven company, change your ways of working, understand that you need data to make decisions. And last but not least, you have to change the risk management approach so that you're changing or evolving your security model into a risk-based model. So remember these 4 things that you can start doing from today: culture, agile mindset, data-driven company, and risk management. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that this has been a useful time. Thank you very much. Bye.